So what are the paramitas? The 6 paramitas are practices that we can undertake that will allow us to move from where we are now and our self-imposed limits to a place where we become close to limitless. Hi, I'm Kathy, and I've been a Dharma teacher and student for almost 25 years. Here, we talk about basic Buddhist principles and Buddhism for beginners. Thanks for joining me. So the 6 paramitas are about seeing that we ourselves cause a lot of our problems. A lot of people teach this differently, but they really are. The paramitas are called the perfections for a reason, and it's not because we can get them perfectly. Maybe we can, I don't know. But I do know that if we practice them and we are honest with our practice, what we can do is become better than we are today. So take generosity, for example. There's some stories called the Jataka tales. And what they are stories about the Buddha in his previous lifetimes. A lot of times they are used as children's stories, but basically they are stories about what the Buddha had to become before he could become the historical Buddha. And if you take generosity, here's the story. The Buddha, the proto-Buddha, the early Buddha, was walking through the jungle. And he overlooks a cliff, and down on the other side of the cliff, he can see that a female tiger had fallen and hurt herself. And she was surrounded by her cubs. She must have given birth recently, but she couldn't help herself. And the cubs were doing what babies do, nuzzling their mother and drinking milk. And the Buddha, this early Buddha, this proto-Buddha, was so overwhelmed with compassion for this being that he tossed himself off the cliff, landing close enough to the tiger so that she could consume his now dead body and have enough strength to survive, feed her cubs, and regain herself. That is the perfection of generosity. I have been studying and teaching Buddhism for almost 25 years, as I say at the beginning of these videos. I am nowhere near there. But I will tell you this. By practicing the perfection of generosity, I am much closer to there than I was when I started. I am still nowhere near it, but I am much closer to there. And the way you get there is by looking at the things that you don't want to give away for whatever reason. So here's a practice I'd like you to try, and let me know how you do, and put it in the comments below, and we'll hold a conversation about it. If you like these, we'll go into another one of the paramitas. I've already done generosity a little bit, so I'll link that here or here, and you can watch that after this one. But I want you to think about in your house or your office, some place where you go all the time and you can touch your things and stuff. I want you to run through your mind, what is there that you would never give away? Now, what we're talking about here are things you already own and are physical things. I'm not talking about your loved ones or anything like that. I'm not talking about your ideas necessarily, unless they're in book form or something. I'm talking about physical things that you could give away to someone who may need it. What would you just not give away? And then I want you to listen to your mind as it goes through the story as to why you wouldn't give it away. Maybe it's your favorite baseball that you got the first game that you went to with your dad. That's a story. And these are things that we can work with, not so that we can get to the point where we'll give away our favorite baseball. That's not really the point. I know it sounds like it's the point. That's not the point. The point is that once we figure out that we too are not as generous as we thought, we can be compassionate when other people are being stingy, or when other people are being impatient, or when other people are being anxious, or when other people are being whatever they're being, because we have done the work to see ourselves as not being better than them. We see ourselves as genuinely having places that we will not give away. For me, one of the easiest ones is that I'm not going to throw my body off the side of a cliff to feed a tiger and her family, no matter how large that family is. I'm not going to do that. I know that. But even closer to home, there are things that I wouldn't give away. I know it because I've done some of this work, and I know it because I'm a human being living in a world where having things makes me feel better. It's just true. I have a computer that I bought so that I could play video games. I have never used it. I don't even think I've ever turned it on, and I still own it. And if you were to ask me to give it away, the first thing that crosses my mind is, oh my God, but it costs so much. I'm doing all the things that I wanted to do on that computer on another computer. But if you ask me to give it away, the first thing that I think is no. So that's my own stinginess, my own grasping and holding on to things. And it keeps me humble. Also keeps me holding on to a computer that's not being used. So that's something I can work on too. But it keeps me humble. It keeps me compassionate. So the next time I see somebody being stingy about something that I don't, it's like, I would have given that. Why don't you just give me? When I see that, instead, I can think back to my attachment to this computer, my unreasonable attachment to this computer. Holding on to this computer is not going to make that money come back. It's just not. And giving it away might help someone. As a matter of fact, I might just give that away today. So there are 6 of these, the 6 paramitas, and I'm going to read them to you. They are, we've already talked about a couple of times, generosity. The other one is ethics. Let's talk about ethics for a minute. So when we went through the Eightfold Path, we talked about right action. And right action is an ethical part of the Eightfold Path. Patience. We've talked about that a little bit. When you lose your temper, anger falls under patience. When you lose your temper for whatever reason, you're trying to get somewhere and someone's there and they're stopping you. Patience. Meditation. Effort. We talked about right effort. Effort is also in the paramitas. It's one of the perfections. And wisdom. So those are the 6. And we perfect them for others. We do it for others. It helps us too. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.